In this episode, you'll discover a better alternative to posting everywhere on social media to attract clients into your business as a consultant and expert. Hello, my name is Anthony Winery.
I'm Ty O'Shea.
And during the last 3 years, we've generated over $1 million with our coaching business. We help online coaches build authentic personal brands through 15-minute solo podcasts that allows them to attract dream clients into their business without posting on social media.
So in this episode, you'll discover why posting on social media, even though you secretly hate it as an expert, is the exact reason why you still stay stuck and invisible no matter how much you post.
Why posting everywhere on social media is the dumbest way to get your voice out there in 2026.
And finally, a new way to create real authority that actually attracts clients in your niche without burning out on content creation or having to play the algorithm games.
So look, Tig, here's what it looks like for the typical expert trying to break through on the online space, trying to gain traction, trying to get clients in order to grow their business. They come online and what do they see? They see a bunch of authority figures who are crushing it on, let's say, a platform like LinkedIn. They then open up YouTube and what do they see? That same authority figure crushing it on YouTube. They open up Instagram and what do they see? That exact same authority absolutely killing it. And the thing is, you start seeing this pattern. All these other authorities seem to be everywhere, seem to be on all these different platforms, posting constantly, showing up every single day.
It's called omnipresence, right? The act of being everywhere at once.
That's it, omnipresence. I'm pretty sure that's a trait that God has, being everywhere at once. Some authority figures are trying to do that. Now, here's the thing. As an online coach and expert who's trying to break through on social media, you're seeing all these authorities posting everywhere. You're actually seeing it. But you're also hearing these authority figures openly sharing their strategies that, hey, how we're able to grow so quickly, how we're able to gain so much traction is because we are posting everywhere. They're not keeping this a secret. This is like a thing that's out there.
That email you wrote, that should be 10 LinkedIn posts. That podcast you went on, that should be 10,000 short form clips.
So of course, what do you do as the expert who's both seeing what other authorities in your space are doing, as well as hearing the advice they're giving? You copy them. You think, you know what? I want to break through. I want a bit of that traction. I want those followers. But here's the thing, Tig. They then try that in attempts to copy those authorities, but inevitably fail. They try posting everywhere, but spread themselves thin. They find themselves playing the social media game that, quite frankly, they hate, but now they're trying to post everywhere, constantly being online. And the worst part about it is they're not gaining traction, they're not generating leads, and they hate the game that they're playing.
How does that happen though? If they're copying the proven strategy to build authority and of course generate leads and sales, how can it end up like that?
It's a good question because it's not like these authority figures are lying to people openly saying, oh yeah, this is strategy we use, and then they're doing something behind them. Like, it's not quite that. It's almost like, well, you have the iceberg right at the very top. That's what people typically see. They have the tip. And then what's it called underneath the tip?
The iceberg.
That's the iceberg. Okay, cool. Glad I got that one cleared up. On the surface, the tip, right, is what these coaches and experts are seeing. They see the tip, which is a bunch of authority figures posting on all these different platforms on social media, having omnipresence. But what they don't see is the actual iceberg underneath that, which is a massive infrastructure, a huge team, an unlimited marketing budget, and 10 years of experience where they actually dominated one platform first, then move on to the next, and carried on that trend for an entire decade in order to get to where they are now.
So most experts are seeing just the tip of the iceberg, that looking like the golden goose of the strategy.
That's it, yeah.
And then, of course, modeling that, not understanding everything that is under that, behind the scenes, under the hood, below the surface, that is the infrastructure. Team, budget, resources, experience. Okay.
So that's really it. So they copy the surface level strategy that is working for those authorities, but doesn't work for them. When it's them with a small lean team, a limited marketing budget, and just the fact they don't even enjoy posting on social media. They don't actually like it as a channel.
Now, it's also fairly common advice to just pick one platform and kind of build up your authority, momentum, and therefore eventually get to a point where you might have the energy, resources, team, budget, etc., to take on the whole scape of social media by starting one by one, by mastering one platform. For example, people who get really good at TikTok, you know, like they're just
TikTok. Come on. I just think TikTok's funny. I didn't realize people use TikTok. Obviously, I'm very aware that they do.
I think you know people use TikTok.
I know, I'm very aware they do, but I just the idea that people do use it, I don't know, I find it funny.
So as I was saying, some people master the game of TikTok. They get really good at creating short form videos and get in the act of going viral. But how those videos on TikTok work is a little different to how it would work if they're posting them as Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, correct.
So they get really good at TikTok. And then once they've built up the 10,000, 100,000, whatever it is, followers and a good amount of experience, gaining some traction, probably have firepower behind them as well, then they're in a spot where they can actually go and taking that over to YouTube or taking that over to Instagram and then eventually LinkedIn and all the rest. So that's also part of the playbook for experts to get their name out there, right? For someone listening right now who they haven't built up that momentum even on one platform yet, and they're kind of at a turning point where there's no obvious platform for them to go all in on yet. They're really just spinning their wheels, not really wanting to even have to pick one of these platforms, like hoping there was a way where they didn't have to play the algorithms and even master one as a way to get more clients. Do you think that's good advice to pick one platform and build up from there for that type of person, for someone in that situation?
But I think the advice specifically on pick one social media platform as an expert to go all in on is a ridiculous advice for an expert in 2026. There's a bunch of content that's being posted more and more each day, millions each day. AI is now a thing. There's a bunch of AI slob. The idea that if you're an online coach and an expert, that you would choose a social media platform that doesn't allow your actual voice, like I'm doing this, like your vocal cords, the resonance, the frequency, the vibration, the idea that you're going to choose a platform that doesn't allow your voice to actually be heard. And I mean that in a very literal way, like not like people read your posts and...
Okay, but literal way, people's voices are heard on TikTok, right? Because that's all about videos. So what do you mean a literal way?
So I guess when it comes to the TikTok side of thing and why this is slightly different is because with TikTok, you're having to condense your knowledge and expertise into like a 30 to 60 second clip.
Okay.
You have to remove a lot of the depth and the context that actually allows your voice to be properly heard, your message to be properly heard.
Okay, so literal way, kind of, but then also the part that isn't as literal is like, yes, technically your voice can be heard on platforms, but not fully expressed.
Correct.
With enough context, with minutes worth of context rather than seconds.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think that's more important now than ever to actually get your voice heard, your personality, for people to get a very good feel of what you're like as a human being. Hence why we have this podcast, because people can tell if we're full of shit or if we're not full of shit. Hopefully people feel like we're not full of shit, but who knows? That's for them to discern. So my point being, for online coaches who are out there right now who are thinking, oh, I need to pick a social media platform, like don't buy into that lie, because even if you did pick a social media platform, but number one, you don't like it, number two, it doesn't allow you to actually be heard, it doesn't allow you to build a level of trust you need to build with the audience you want to build, for them to build a like, know, and trust, and for them to have to feel like they know, like, and trust you.
And you're saying that the biggest reason for that, or the biggest lever for that social media doesn't pull, if you like, for building trust, is the ability to hear one's voice and hear it in full.
And I know that we've had clients like, for example, one of our clients, David, who's a leadership and communication expert. He tried playing the game of social media. He saw the tip of the iceberg, got shiny eyes, started posting everywhere, posting constantly on LinkedIn, but it just didn't work for him. He wasn't gaining traction. He was honestly feeling drained. And he always said how he hated the fact he was playing the algorithm game, and it's something he just didn't want to do. And he wanted a different medium where he could get his voice out there that allowed his message to be heard.
Right. Yeah. In David's case, he had a 15-minute solo podcast, meaning that he could share his voice. And not only could he share his voice, like in the literal sense, like you say, his actual voice into a microphone like this, but also he didn't have to filter himself because of algorithms that only really would promote something under 3 minutes, like really under 30 seconds. He had 15 minutes, and hey, there's no hard stop at the 15 minutes either, just around 15 minutes to share an insight, a story, a framework, a client result, all related to his expertise, that acts as such a natural, authentic, and again, fully expressed funnel for people who hear that to naturally want to work with David.
And I think that makes such a big difference, right? In a world where we do see a bunch of AI slob, but you can't really tell whether someone's being like authentic and genuine. having a medium like a 50-minute solo podcast, it allowed his potential clients and his audience to instantly get a feel of what David's like. And we know so many of our clients now are able to do that because they have a 15-minute solo podcast.
Now, is the point of this episode to sell everyone hearing this on the idea of a 15-minute solo podcast?
I mean, well, like, is it literally the point? No.
No, I mean, kind of, but no.
I think the general point is basically, hey, if you are an online coach and an expert, and you're seeing a bunch of authorities in your space posting everywhere, understand that the reason why that strategy is working for them is because they have an entirely different infrastructure, a massive team, unlimited marketing budget, 10 years of experience, and have built up their credibility during a time where AI didn't exist online, right? And for you, if you have a small team and you don't have that same infrastructure, you're playing a losing game. You have to choose and prioritize a different way to get your voice out there. We're just sharing one of those methodologies because that's what we do. We help clients grow through 15-minute solo podcasts.
Who would have guessed it?
But ultimately, if you can find a different way to get your voice out there that isn't that does resonate with you, then go for it.
Of course, just make sure the one, it works for building trust, like you're able to share your voice, for example. And two, it doesn't have that massive behemoth part of the iceberg underneath the waves. And with 15-minute solo podcasts, another reason why we truly back that particular vehicle is because the bottom of the iceberg isn't that big. Like, you don't need a huge team pumping out podcasts. You can just do it yourself, but you have one assistant producing the show for you, distributing it, uploading it to Apple and Spotify. You would just be doing it yourself because, again, it's very authentic in terms of how you create content. It's just you talk into microphone about your actual experience, which tends to work really well for experts with experience. And the production is very simple as well. You can either do it yourself or just have one person on your team, just a producer, assistant that handles all of that. So look, if you've heard all that, and you think, nah, I'm good, I'm just going to keep breaking my way through the iceberg, and maybe one day I'll have the infrastructure that others do. I actually like social media, and a podcast sounds like a terrible idea to me. Then we don't take any offense. Honestly, this channel wouldn't be for you, as we do recommend to go all in on what makes most sense for you. However, if the idea of a 15-minute solo podcast as a vehicle to express yourself fully, be discovered online by potential clients regularly, build trust with them, and seamlessly attract them into your business, then you probably would like this channel. And in fact, we've got the perfect video for you. We just recorded a full guide on how you can launch a 15-minute solo podcast that doesn't suck the life out of you, doesn't require hours each week, doesn't need you to speak to any guests, hands you a permission slip to ditch social media because you can be discovered by the millions of potential prospects browsing on Apple and Spotify every day. This is our first time doing this. It's going to be somewhere around here on the screen. So just click where you can see it. We hope you enjoy.